Welcome back to Kim's Corner. You're with Kim. So, in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the thing I love most in this world. And no, it's not Kenan. Well, actually, let me give a quick shout out to my incredibly talented husband. I love you, babe. Thank you so much for editing my videos. You're doing such an amazing job making these videos more entertaining than they originally are. And even though you're not in front of the camera, your presence is very much felt in all the creative aspects of all these videos. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Today we're going to be talking about my most favorite thing in the world, food. I've always loved food, and I don't get people who don't like food. Like, how and why? What's the secret? I need to know.
I don't have to tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
I think my weight loss journey would have been much easier if I didn't love food so much, and I probably wouldn't have weight to lose in the first place. You know, whenever I think about any happy memory, like Christmas with family, birthdays, travels, our wedding, all these different occasions have one thing in common: food. And especially as a Filipino, all our celebrations are centered around food. Like, it's not a party without a big spread of all our favorite dishes. If you're a foreigner and you have Filipino friends, then you know what I mean. Food is a huge part of our lives. Well, actually, food is life. Like, we literally can't live without it. But too much of a good thing can be dangerous, and in this case, to our health. So we need to find a way to make food fit in our lives where we can enjoy all its benefits and avoid all its risks. If you've seen my last videos, then you'd know that I've embarked on a health and fitness journey this past year. And I would say that the biggest change that happened to me is one that you cannot see. It's the change in my mindset about everything: food, exercise, weight loss, health, and life in general. But today we're going to be focusing on my mindset shifts about food. Like I mentioned in my last video, I've been on so many different diets since I was a teenager, and I've always failed at them. So if I wanted results, something had to change. I needed to unlearn everything I knew and change the way I approached food. It's a lifelong process, but I've already learned and applied some very important concepts to my life. And I think some of these would really help a lot of you out there in the same way that they have helped me. So I want to share them with you today. So before I go into it, just two things. One, I'm not a nutritionist or a registered dietitian. I'm only going to be sharing very general concepts here based on my own research and experience. And two, what I will share today is all about food and how I improved my relationship with it. So not necessarily everything is going to be related to weight loss. So if you're not trying to lose weight, then this video could still help you. Okay, here we go. First, focus on adding rather than taking away. I've already touched on this before, but this idea helped me so much that I think it's worth reiterating. When we think of dieting, the first thing that comes to mind is to stop eating certain foods. But that's not really sustainable for most people, and it's also not ideal. Our goal is to make our diets as balanced and varied as possible. And also, we want to have a diet that we can follow for the rest of our lives. In a more practical sense, instead of removing carbs or sugar or whatever you think is causing your weight gain from your diet, just focus on adding more fruits and vegetables to your meals. This removes the feeling of restriction and the rebellion that comes with it. It will give you a sense of abundance, and that will make it easier for you to stick to your goals. Even though we end up with more calories when we do this, a neat trick I've learned is to eat the most nutritious food on your plate first and then work your way down to the least nutritious ones. That way, you get full faster and you end up eating less of the unhealthy stuff. Whatever your goals are, in my opinion, this is a very good first step, and it's beneficial for your physical and mental health. Number 2, you don't have to eat foods you don't like. We're adults now. We make our own choices. Nobody can force me to eat curry Trust me, many people have tried before. So just make a list of what you like, including the less nutritious ones, and just find ways to make them healthy. This will be easier if you learn to make your own food. Now more than ever, we are so spoiled with unlimited options of seasonings, herbs, spices, creams, juices, anything you can think of to make food taste better. So just experiment with it, maybe swap out some ingredients for healthier ones, or just eat them as is and make them fit in your calorie goals. Number 3, food has more than just one purpose. I always thought of food as just purely for pleasure. I loved eating only delicious food. If the food isn't flavorful, then I wouldn't eat it. But that has changed in the last months. And you're sitting there thinking that this totally goes against my previous point. And also, who would want to eat food that's not delicious? But I think it's important to know that it's not just all about taste. Food is also fuel. It gives us energy to perform our daily activities and functions we don't even see. So just keep an open mind. Variety is the ultimate key to a healthy diet. You know, I used to absolutely hate vegetables, but now I find them tolerable. The only vegetable I truly like is potatoes.
That's some fries. Yeah, that's some fries.
Of course, food is to be enjoyed, but whether we like it or not, some foods are just better at nourishing our bodies than others. So sure, eat your cake, but also eat your salad. Number 4, there is no such thing as good or bad food. Food is just food. You can't give it any moral value. And when talking about food, we need to stop using words with negative connotations like junk. Oh, that's junk food. Or cheating, like I'm cheating on my diet right now. Like today is a cheat day. Or tempting. Oh, that cake is so tempting. It makes us think that we're doing something so sinful. Like if we eat the bad food, then that also makes us bad. This perpetuates the feeling of guilt and shame, which is my next point. Number 5, stop feeling guilty and ashamed. It's okay to mess up. Progress isn't linear. If you happen to eat over your target calories in one meal or one day, it's not the end of the world. Your body regulates itself. If you eat more today, then you'll be less hungry tomorrow.
I'm not hungry.
In the same way, if you starve yourself, then you'll just be hungrier in the next couple of days. I was in that same cycle for a very long time. Step 1, starve myself. Step 2, my body makes me hungrier, to keep me alive. Step 3, I eventually give in, and because I'm ravenous at this point, I eat way more than I should. Step 4, feel guilty and ashamed because I overate. And then I go back to step 1 again. This is very unhealthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. It negatively affects your metabolism and it makes you gain even more weight. So if you make a mistake, just take it as data and move on. It only becomes a problem if you do it consistently over a long period of time. Number 6, you don't have to starve to get results.
I'm not hungry.
I know this can be quite tricky to navigate because there are certain medical conditions that mess up your hunger and fullness cues. And if you think you're suffering from those, then please get yourself checked. I remember with my PCOS, I used to get these crazy cravings out of nowhere, and some days I felt like I could eat everything and never feel full. Thank God I don't get those anymore. Generally, for those who want to lose fat like me, we can all benefit from eating low-calorie dense foods. For example, this is what 200 calories look like on different foods. So if you want to be able to eat more, just choose the lower calorie options. This is what I do, and I think that I mentioned this in my previous video that since I started, I never once felt hungry.
I'm not hungry.
And as you can see here, I still lost weight. Number 7, be in tune with your internal cues instead of relying on external cues. A great example of this is to stop eating when you're full, not when your plate is empty. I think we learned this as kids from our parents who always force us to finish every last bit of food on our plates at every meal, even when we're already super full. So now, as adults, we eat beyond fullness because there's still food on our plates. Another way of applying this is to observe your body after eating a certain food. For example, spaghetti used to be my favorite food, especially Filipino spaghetti. To me, it looked so appetizing and yummy. It still does, but when I really took the time to observe my body, I realized that it made me feel bloated and just awful after eating it. I threw up every single time, and I thought that was just normal until I stopped eating gluten and dairy. It's really a whole new eating experience when you take the time to study which foods make you feel good and which foods make you feel physically bad. And it's different for everyone, so only you can find out what works for you. Last tip about focusing on your internal cues. Don't allow yourself to be extremely hungry before you eat. And in the same way, don't eat until you're painfully full that you have to unbutton your pants. No judgments here, we've all been there before. But if you look at this scale, aim to constantly be between 3 and 8. Also, take your time when you're eating because it usually takes around 20 minutes for your brain to send signals of fullness. Number 8. There is no one diet that will work for everyone. This is pretty self-explanatory and I already explained this in detail in my last video, so if you're interested, please go ahead and watch that. Number 9. There is no one food or drink that will make you lose weight. There is nothing magical about lemon water, honey, apple cider vinegar, chia seeds, celery, whatever superfood or drink is viral these days. You can take them if you want them, but just don't expect to lose weight, especially if you continue eating excessively. Number 10, portion control, but not the restrictive kind that you're thinking about. You're allowed to eat as much as you want, but get only one serving at a time. Like with chips, try not to eat from the bag to avoid mindlessly overeating. Purposely get one portion size and put it in a bowl or something. If you finish that and you're still hungry, you're free to have more. This extra step just makes you pause and think. You're just creating that barrier. And your laziness might work in your favor here because now you have to get up to get more. Last one, and this is for those who are trying to lose weight. Number 11, healthy does not always equal weight loss. There are a lot of healthy foods out there that don't necessarily help with weight loss because they're so high in calories. For example, olive oil. We can all agree that olive oil is very healthy, but it's very high in calories. Other common examples are peanut butter, avocados, most salad dressings, dried fruits, and nuts. Basically anything that's high in fat and sugar. I'm not saying you can't have those foods when you're trying to lose weight. No. Not at all. I consume those on a daily basis. I'm just saying you need to consume with awareness. I'll have a link in the description to this article where they showed how many calories are in different food items in several fast food restaurants. You'll be surprised to find out that some salads have more calories than burgers. You can eat all the healthy food in the world and still not lose weight. That's why it's very important to learn about nutrition and calories, especially when you're first starting out in your weight loss journey. So I think that's it. Obviously, this is not a comprehensive list, but this summarizes the top lessons I've learned from watching others who are way more qualified to talk about these things than me. But I think it can also be helpful to have the perspective of someone who's a beginner and is still in the middle of their journey. I tried my best to squeeze in all this information into bite-sized pieces that you guys can easily digest, pun intended. For the most part, I think I'm just talking to my younger self here. When it comes to food, I really want to emphasize that the most important thing is just to be mindful of what you're consuming. Sometimes we fool ourselves into thinking that we're not really eating that much. But sometimes we genuinely just don't know. So I encourage you guys to track your calories for a while, not for restriction, but just for data collection. You may be surprised just how much you're consuming, and who knows, maybe that knowledge will inspire you to make a change. But also, don't center your life around food. I actually did that. You know, it happened so many times before. Literally, while I was eating, I'd already be planning my next meal. I had a very unhealthy relationship with food, but now I think I've gotten to the point where even if I gain weight again someday, and I know I will, I can always find my way back because of everything that I know now. There is so much more to life than obsessing about the high of your next meal. You have to free up your mind for more important things in life. Anyway, I hope you learned a thing or two from this video. If you have any questions or anything to add to this list, comment them down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends if this helped you, and I'll see you guys on my next video.